Hello ladies and gents, this is another video brought to you by Ants Hood, and today I'll be talking about my Pheidole Nodas again. Oh yes, and a very Merry Christmas to you all. If you cast your minds back to the introduction video for my Nodas, and I'll put a link in the top right corner now, you'll see that there was about 150 workers with loads of majors and stuff like that. Now in the setup that I had them in at the time, it sufficed until I got their main setup, which I've got now, which is what this video is going to be about. But they've still got plenty of workers, so I'm not massively concerned. And more importantly, as you can see here, they've got tons of brood. So the die-off isn't a massive concern because obviously they wouldn't have been producing while they were transporting and stuff like that. But they've definitely settled down and producing young, which means I'm gonna have the replacement for those dead workers. So you will notice it in the video today that they are dramatically reduced in numbers, but it's still sufficient to look after the brood, so it's just a mere slight die-off and hopefully just a blip. If you haven't checked out my Instagram page, #AntsHood, one word, you need to, because I've put some videos up on my Nodas to say you knew what situation I was currently in. Well, they're in the ants portal, and I put foil in to feed them, such as the honey water and the protein and stuff like that, and I just couldn't get it out because every time I opened it up they just swarmed it. So I needed a new outworld set up so I could actually feed them without them all escaping, without squishing them, because I'm having to pull a test tube out and put it back in because I can't take the top of the portal off because they all escape. Nightmare, just an absolute nightmare. So I knew that I needed a new outworld and a new setup, and I ordered it from Antboy UK. Yet again, as I said to my last video, you know, where you got a bit of a sneak peek of the new setup for these guys, I wanted one of the outworlds where it's sealed because they're escape artists. So I wanted one of them, so I had to wait, and unfortunately, because of being a busy period of the year, lots of orders and postage being pants, it took absolutely ages for them to get here, which is disappointing, but it is what it is, guys. So as I was saying, I wanted this outworld because it's good. The welding's really good to the plastic. I said in my last video, the lid goes on tight and there's no chance of escaping, and the air holes are small enough so even the small tiny Pheidole workers can't get out. And look, he's engraved at Ants Hood again, so pretty cool touch. I've also purchased the white tongue nest from Antboy UK as well. Now, as you know from my other videos, I don't have any white tongue nests, so I've moved on to it for these because they're quite moisture loving. And as I've said in my other videos, when it comes to the acrylic nests and sponges and stuff like that, I just really struggle to regulate and maintain the humidity. Partly because of my busy lifestyle maybe, and I don't water it as much as I should. I don't know, but I just seem to notice that 1 minute it's fine, then I blink and then the humidity's just dropped right off, which isn't the consistency that I want for my ants, because I think the secret to ant keeping is having the right climate that's consistent, and I really struggle with the acrylic for that. So I've moved on to the white tongue because I've been told they hold on to humidity really well. And to tell you the truth, you might see it from the this video that in the background I've got wires going everywhere. That's because I purchased 2 of these and I was regulating the temperature so I can gauge where I'm at with it, how long humidity lasts for, how stable it lasts, what kind of temperature I need to put on with the heating cables and things like that. Now you obviously know I'm quite keen about heat control, and you'll see that I'm going to be a massive hypocrite and throw 3 sheets to the wind with that one, because if you can see here, I'm putting in just a standard thermometer that reads humidity and temperature, and it doesn't control nada. Now you might be thinking, Hood, why are you doing this? Because you know you're always whinging at us about control and stuff like that. And the reason for this is because I need to find out the humidity inside the nest. Now this has only got 1 port, which is a bit of a pain in the bum, but it is what it is. So I've threaded, because they're only small ants, it through the tubing into the nest. And to tell you the truth, as you'll see later on, they move in quite happily and it doesn't really massively bother them, to be honest. But it gives me that humidity reading, so I know when I need to water it, when I don't need to water it, if it's too high, where I'm at, bang on, not right. So that's good for that, but it doesn't control my heat. But the reason for this is because I'm pretty confident that the temperature won't spike too high above what the Pheidoles require. Now looking at my sheet that I've got put up so I can see, the max temperature for these is 28, so it's 24 to 28 degrees. So fingers crossed it won't spike above that, because that heat cable is being controlled by another nest which has a similar requirement. So I know after the experimenting that I've just done previously that it will sit around the right temperature for these guys, which is around 26. And I'll just speed this bit up while I'm putting it all together. You notice I use cotton wool to block off the hole where the tube cable goes into, because the stoppers don't work with it, but they do come with stoppers as well, which isn't too bad. And I'm just connecting it all up before I grab the old nest that they were in. Now, as I stated in my Instagram video, I'm really struggling to feed them in this setup because they just keep escaping everywhere. And they're relentless. Give them a little bit of avenue to escape and boom, you've got a swarm on your hands. And they're just nightmares. Now, with the die-off especially, they could potentially stay in the test tube, but there's more than enough workers and majors, to be fair, for them to be able to cope in a larger nest. So I just think it's best at this stage just to move them completely, not into a new nest, but also a new outworld. Now, you guys know me well. You know I'm the master of cuffing things, but this particular occasion, knowing how much of a pain they are of escaping, I got everything ready before I was ready to put it together. So I got the tubing because I had a rough idea how it was going to work. And if you're ever going to do a bit of a complex setup like this where you can't take it all apart or just stick the inner tube in to make it nice and simple, make sure you do a bit of pre-planning so you know where it's going to be and what's going to happen. Otherwise, you're going to come across like I did, where the tubing will not go into that ant portal for love nor money, and I had loads of escapes again. Now, I've speeded this video up because it would be too boring to watch at normal speeds, but as you can see here, I really struggled to get the tubing in. And here I thought I had it, and I did a time lapse, and you can see them just coming in and out of the portal on top of the tubing. I had to replace the tubing because I just couldn't get it in the portal for love nor money. So I ended up putting this longer one in and did a bit of a time lapse. And as you can see here, it took them all of no seconds to go exploring. Or checking out the new nest, or checking out the outworld. The outworld had some protein in there, a freshly killed roach and some honey water. So they'll bring that back to the old nest. If you do cast your minds back to the first video, you remember seeing one of the queens where a worker was latched onto the leg, and I thought that they'd already amputated half that leg off. And I guessed that I was going to lose a queen. Now, I did check on them after that to see if one of the queens had died, but I could never really clearly see because the majors are so similar. But you can see here from this video, I found all 3 queens, which is a bonus. About 2 days later, I checked on them in the morning before going to work, and I just managed to get my phone in time to catch his worker moving the last of the brood from the test tube into the nest. So the move had happened overnight, which was great news. Didn't take as long as it does with some of my ants. Sometimes it's weeks for them to bloody move. But as you can see here, the majority are in the nest now with the queens and stuff. There is a couple of bits of brood left in the test tube, and that's why I never disconnected it, but that doesn't bother me. And I left them like this for a while, and give them a chance to move until I could get them out of the bloody portal. It's a great bit of kit, but it's also a big pain. There is a second outworld there. That's not connected to my Pheidoles in any shape or form, and they're actually not a species I've shown on my channel yet. So you'll have to pop over to Instagram to see what they are. Now, as I know what Santa Claus is getting me for Christmas, and it's fairly large, I've had to rejig the ant cave a little bit, and I've put them on the shelving here now, which is good because it's a bit more stable and won't be much vibrations which would annoy them or not help them settle down. Now, I've disconnected the ant portal. Now, the one you see here connected to the ant hut, that's got another species that I've not shown on my channel yet. I think it's on Instagram. If not, I'll make sure after editing this video I'll put them on Instagram so you can see what they are. The only negative about this setup, how I've got it at the moment on the shelf, is that the angles are going to be quite difficult to do some decent filming. But fingers crossed I can still do the decent videos and put them out to you guys so you can still enjoy them. Well, I hope you enjoy them. You can see from the video though that as soon as I put them back on this shelf, they move back into the test tube. From what I can tell, most of the queens are there and stuff as well, so they just completely chinned me off on that one moving into the nest. But as you can see from the temperature and humidity reader, it's bang on for what they want, so why they've moved out, I ain't got a Scooby-Doo. I've edited this on the 24th of December and I'm going to release it on the 26th of December. So I am going to talk in past tense, even though it's the future for me. But I hope you all had a great Christmas. I hope Santa Claus bought you everything you wanted, especially all the ant related stuff that you wanted. I've got some cool stuff coming forward for next year, and I'll talk about that in my video just before New Year's Eve. So bye-bye for now, guys, and have a good Christmas.